All right, today we are diving into one of the wildest, most creative, and frankly most unbelievable top secret operations of World War II. We're going to talk about an army that didn't fight with bullets, they fought with illusions. So, picture this. It's May 1945. German General Alfred Juld, one of Hitler's highest-ranking commanders, is sitting in an Allied interrogation room. The war is over, but for him, the real shock is just about to hit. An American officer is calmly explaining the situation, and you can just imagine Juld's world completely shattering. That massive Allied army they'd been tracking, planning for, terrified of, it was all a ghost. It never existed. For 2 solid years, the German High Command was moving around nearly 500,000 of its soldiers, all to counter threats that were basically just rubber, speakers, and radio static. And the craziest part? The whole thing was pulled off by fewer than 3,000 Allied specialists. So the big question is, how in the world did they do it?
Well, this wasn't just some one-off trick. This was the grand finale of the most elaborate, most complex military deception in history. A plan so huge it stretched all the way from Norway down to the Mediterranean. Okay, let's get into how this whole thing worked.
The strategy itself was, well, revolutionary. The goal wasn't to outgun the enemy. It was to get inside their heads, to defeat the enemy's mind. You see, British intelligence had figured out that Hitler was completely obsessed with the idea that any invasion had to come at the Pas de Calais. And this entire plan, Operation Bodyguard, was designed to play that obsession like a violin.
So, to bring this massive illusion to life on the ground, the U.S. Army put together a very different kind of unit. This was the 23rd Headquarters Special Troops, and these guys, top secret of course, were basically a traveling theater company for the battlefield.
And who do you get for a job like this? I mean, this was no ordinary unit. They hand-picked artists from places like Pratt and Cooper Union, sound engineers from radio, advertising guys from Madison Avenue, designers, you name it. We're talking about a group that included future fashion icon Bill Blass, the famous artist Ellsworth Kelly, and legendary photographer Art Kane. This unit was said to have one of the highest average IQs in the entire Army, a real brain trust.
So, how does this small band of creatives build an illusion big enough to fool an entire army? Well, they developed this incredible multimedia approach to wage a war of pure perception. You could call it a symphony of lies, and it had 3 main parts. The whole idea was to attack the enemy's senses from every single angle. They created this completely fake but totally convincing reality using a mix of visual tricks, sonic deception, and phony radio chatter. It was a full-blown multimedia production, just, on a battlefield. Now for the visual side, this is where it gets fun. They had these incredible inflatable rubber tanks. A real Sherman tank is 32 tons. These things? 93 pounds. A couple of guys could set one up in minutes. But if you're a German pilot in a reconnaissance plane 400 yards up, you literally can't tell the difference. They even used bulldozers to carve fake tank tracks in the dirt for extra realism. Then there was the sound. They had these huge 500-pound speakers mounted on trucks, and they could blast the sounds of an entire armored division for up to 15 miles. And the recordings were incredibly detailed. We're talking everything from the sound of tanks moving to bridge construction. They even had recordings of soldiers just hanging around, complaining about the food to make it sound real.
But this is where it gets really genius. It wasn't just about making noise. See, German intelligence was really sophisticated. They could track Allied units just by identifying the unique sending style, the fist, they called it, of an individual Morse code operator. It's like a fingerprint. So what did the Ghost Army do? Their radio guys studied recordings and learned to perfectly mimic the fists of operators in real units, making their fake radio networks seem completely legitimate.
Okay, so you've got the inflatable tanks, the sound effects, the fake radio chatter. All of these pieces came together for their absolute masterpiece performance. In March of 1945, this one operation would cement their legacy and is credited with saving thousands upon thousands of lives.
It was called Operation Viersen. The Ghost Army used every trick in their book to pretend to be 2 American divisions. That's over 30,000 men getting ready to cross the Rhine River, and the Germans completely bought it. They moved their defenses to stop the fake invasion. The result? The real Ninth Army crossed the river further north and met almost no resistance. It was a stunning, incredible success.
But after the war, these guys were all sworn to secrecy. Their story, one of the most amazing of the entire war, was classified for almost 50 years.
It took decades for them to get any recognition. As you can see, it wasn't until 1996 that the records were even declassified, and then finally in 2024, the unit was awarded the Congressional Gold Medal, one of the highest honors a civilian can get.
Their story is just this powerful reminder that a battlefield isn't just a physical place. It's a psychological one, too. And it leaves us with a really interesting question for our own time, doesn't it? In this age of digital misinformation, AI, and deepfakes, what can we learn about what's real and what's not from these original, analog masters of deception?